Well, hey guys, with skincare getting so expensive, I know a lot of you are asking yourselves, is this even really working? Is it worth me spending money on this product time and time again? Is it even doing anything? How do you even know if a skincare product is actually working? If it's worth the money? In this video, I'm going to give you several tips, tricks, and approaches to having a good understanding as to if your skincare products are really doing anything, if they're worth your money, or if you should just bail on them and go for something less expensive, more efficient. Number one tip, define what you mean by working. Working in what way? Improving dark spots, improving redness. Are you looking to a product to improve skin texture, tone, clarity? Are you looking to a product to just help keep your skin moisturized? Or are you hoping that a product might deliver something in the realm of anti-aging, like protecting your skin from damage long term? Some definitions of working are going to take a long time to see results, sometimes decades. So that's important going in. Sometimes you may not really have a good sense at all if a product truly is working for you. For example, antioxidants. They, in theory, help improve your skin's ability to handle free radicals and balance out the relative production and removal of reactive oxygen species. And those reactive oxygen species, when there are too many of them, well, they damage lipids, proteins, and DNA in your skin, and they do contribute to premature aging as well as flares of underlying skin problems. So it's really hard to assess if an antioxidant is truly working in your skin unless you go biopsying your skin and trying to do all sorts of testing. And that would take a long time anyway to see those results. So some things you're just not actually going to know, and you have to have a good faith. But you certainly can see visible improvement in your skin over time using a product. So having a good understanding going in what it is that you hope to get out of that product is important. And also set your expectations to something realistic. Skincare products are beneficial. They're a nice complement to many medical therapies for true skin diseases. They're beneficial. They do work. They can work, I should say, but they're not going to be a miracle. They're not going to completely change the game for a lot of skin problems. So have realistic expectations going in. Number two tip is you have to give your skincare products a chance to work. How long? Well, it will depend on what product we're talking about and what expectation it is, again, that you have in terms of what you qualify as working. Cleanser, you will have a pretty good idea after one or two uses if it does a good job removing whatever dirt, oil, sebum is on your face. Like, does your face look, feel clean? Is there residue left behind? You'll have a pretty good understanding if a moisturizer is working for you because, well, your skin should feel moisturized for at least 24 hours. Many moisturizers actually can help keep the skin moisturized for much longer than that, 48, 72 hours. Does your skin continue to feel tight and dry? Moisturizer may just not be cutting it for you. And remember, certain outcomes are going to be specific to you. What works for you may not work for someone else. What works for someone else may not work for you. So it doesn't even necessarily mean that the product isn't any good. It just might not be any good for you. But other things, they're going to take much longer. Most things in skincare take time, whether that be improving the look of dark spots, redness, skin texture, skin tone, at least 4 to 6 weeks to start seeing true visible improvement. Here's the thing, a lot of people bail on topicals much earlier than that. So they never really give their skincare product adequate time to really shine, so to speak. Number three is you have to keep things really simple. First of all, it's just easier to keep up with a simple routine. If it's easier to keep up with, then it's more likely you're going to give a given product adequate time to actually work. But if you use too many products or you introduce something else, it becomes difficult to tease out what's doing what and if anything is doing anything at all. So a lot of people get tempted to try out new toners, new serums, new essences, add in different actives, try different masks. And so it starts to muddy the waters as to what is benefiting the skin. That being said, a lot of people enjoy trying out different products. Their skin isn't irritated by a complicated routine. It's sustainable and maintainable for them. So go on. But do understand that you may have a more difficult time assessing if a particular product is truly doing anything. Tip number 4, Document. We all have phones these days. Well, majority of people do, with a little camera built in. Take photographs and keep them in a little folder on your phone. Take photographs in natural lighting, like in front of a window. That's the best lighting to really see things. And take a photograph maybe once a week and just keep it in a folder. Don't overanalyze it every single day. That can put you in a dark headspace. But after 4 or 6 weeks, start comparing photographs and see, am I seeing any change in my skin, whether that be redness, dark spots. Again, remember, some things take a really long time to work. But if you've been using a product that is intended to improve the look of post-acne dark marks, for example, or post-acne redness, and you've been using it for 3 months, and you're almost finished with it, and you go back and look at photographs of yourself, again, take it in natural lighting consistently, from when you first started using it, and you don't really see any difference, and you didn't love the product, don't buy it again. Documentation can really open your eyes to the changes. As someone who videos and photographs her face every day, and no, I'm not vain, it's just the nature of YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, I have years worth of daily images of my face. And from time to time, I will go back in my archives and look for older video footage for the purposes of finding, clips of things to put into other pieces of content here and there. And sometimes I will stumble upon images of my face from a few years ago, and I'll be like, oh wow, that freckle was a lot darker back then in comparison to now. And so I am actually noticing years worth of change in my skin in terms of lightening some of these things. That's not to say that those things necessarily ever bothered me per se, but it is kind of telling that, wow, something that I've been doing seems to have lightened that up a bit. Could be, just good sun protection. Again, don't put skincare products on a pedestal. It could have just been something that with good sun protection would have faded on its own anyway. All that to say, it can be very eye-opening, to say the least, to see photographs of yourself prior to starting something and see that change. Number 5, check expiration dates on the products you are using. A lot of times you might get a good deal on a skincare product or what you think is a good deal, a big sale, and maybe you put it in storage, say, I'm not quite ready to open that yet. Then several months go by, maybe even a year goes by, you forget you had it, and you're like, oh, I forgot I had this. You bring it out, you start using it, and you're like, is this even doing anything? Check the expiration date, because products, after their expiration date, the efficacy of the active ingredients, you really, kind of have to start to question. Also, beyond the expiration date, it is more likely that the product can be irritating to your skin, so keep that in mind as well. Also, pay attention to the PAO. I mentioned this in my skincare habits to develop in the new year. PAO is period after opening. That is a number of months after which the product has been opened, for which it is still good. And if the product has been opened and that date has exceeded, well, again, you do kind of have to start questioning the efficacy of the ingredient. This I find to be especially true when it comes to antioxidant serums like vitamin C. You'll notice that the PAO on those is sometimes 3 months, sometimes 8 months. It's not as generous as, say, the PAO on a bottle of moisturizer. So if you've been using something, you put it on the back burner, you bailed on it, and you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna start using this again. And you're like, is it even doing anything? Check that PAO. So that's another thing to be mindful of. It may not necessarily be that the product is bad, you're just using an old one. Tip number 6, do not sabotage the product or ingredient's ability to work by not protecting your skin from the sun. You would be surprised. This is actually a common pitfall a lot of people run into. They expect a product which is intended to improve the look of sunspots, age spots, hyperpigmentation, brighten up skin tone, even out complexion. It's not working. It's not working. Well, have you been wearing sunscreen? Here and there, when I remember. Consistently wearing sunscreen, being mindful of your sun exposure, really gives those ingredients a better chance of doing anything, because UV rays slow down healing, stimulate pigment production, and all of those things can lead to the persistence of some of these things that you are hoping the product is going to fade. So really make sure that those ingredients have a good chance of working for you and that you're not sabotaging the outcome. Along those lines, my next tip, make sure you're addressing your issues. Any underlying skin disorder that you have, make sure that you are having it treated appropriately with your dermatologist. You're staying consistent with your treatments, because a lot of skin problems cannot be corrected so long as the underlying problem is still active. For example, if you're getting really painful cystic acne breakouts, but you're also trying to fade post-acne redness, hyperpigmentation, and you're not seeing those things clear up, well, it's because you're still having ongoing inflammation from that active cystic acne. So make sure that you're staying consistent. Also, a lot of patients with rosacea may be under-treating their rosacea, and they're surprised that that anti-redness lotion with niacinamide or whatever is not really doing as much as they might like. Well, you still need to treat the rosacea. And then once the rosacea is treated, well, you may start to see an even more dramatic improvement. One that I see a lot of people struggle with, especially on TikTok, a lot of people, you'll come across accounts of people documenting their journey with peri-orificial dermatitis, which is really, really a struggle to deal with. That condition, whether it be around your mouth or around your nose, around your eyes. The thing about that condition is you don't want to be experimenting around with skincare products, because in most cases that's going to aggravate it. You kind of just have to lay low in the skincare game when you have that and let it heal. Stay consistent with the treatments you've been prescribed. There are some skincare products that can benefit that condition. Topical sulfur, for example. Y'all know I'm a huge fan of the De La Cruz sulfur mask. Can definitely help that. But a mainstay of treating that, like a first-line approach, is the do-nothing approach, literally, like no skincare. Because the skin is like hyper-irritable, hypersensitive. So that's a situation where you have to deal with that issue before you really, can go entertaining guests. Now, here's a tip, something I personally do as a test of is this working with regards to cleansers. And I'm not talking about cleansers that have active ingredients like salicylic acid, glycolic acid. I'm talking about cleansers to wash my face. I call it the mascara test, where basically if I'm using a cleanser or cleansing approach, cleansing balm, cleansing oil, to wash my face at the end of the day, if I get out of the shower and I have raccoon eyes, it's a no-go. It's a no-go. It didn't work. Because I don't wear waterproof mascara. In my mind, and I use cleanser around my eyes. In my mind, if I'm washing my face and I get out of the shower, having used the cleanser around my eyes, if I have black residue around my eyes, cleanser is not adequate for me. It doesn't meet my needs. It's not doing what I want it to do. It's a no-go. I've encountered that with cleansers. I often have that issue, not so much with cleansers, because I do a double cleanse, but anytime I've tried those godforsaken makeup wipes, I often get raccoon eyes. The Garnier Micellar Cleansing Water, raccoon eyes. So that's why I don't use that. Doesn't work for me, gives me raccoon eyes, even when I use it in a double cleanse fashion. So that's a little test. Now, if you don't wear mascara, another test I do is the water-resistant tinted sunscreen test. Because I have come across cleansers in my trials and tribulations of testing out many cleansers where I will go in, wash my face with just the cleanser, and I've got tinted sunscreen on, wash my face, and I come out, and I kid you not, I can take a towel to tap on my face, and I'm getting tint on the towel. So that's a no-go. That's another way to test it out. For like the one that I'm thinking of, this tinted sunscreen that I'm thinking of, is the Color Science Face Shield Flex. I have had cleansers fail to remove that. And they should take it off, but I mean, it's a testament to how good that sunscreen is in terms of staying on the skin. That's great. You want it to stay on the skin until you don't. My last tip has to do with kind of a bigger picture issue with using skincare products, as far as, is it gonna work for you? Work for you, not for your skin. And by that I mean, is there something about the product application, the product packaging that really is just not conducive to your lifestyle, not easy to use, and not sustainable for you. A lot of people feel this way, myself included, with certain products in jar packaging. Now, jar packaging itself is not a problem. Products can be more than fine in a jar. Okay, let's dispel that myth. But the utility of a jar is not always there in terms of ease of use. Some skincare products are just hard to get out, and you become kind of annoyed with them, so you don't use them. Products can only work if you use them. Along those lines, if a product, you don't like the texture, you don't like the way it feels, it's a little uncomfortable, maybe you don't even like the way that it smells. Smells odd, you just don't like using it. Don't buy it again, because it may be the best product, the most effective at doing what it's supposed to do, but if you don't care to use it, don't buy it again. Don't buy it again. I mean, again, we need to stop putting skincare products on a pedestal. And it's easy to put them on a pedestal when they are hyped up so much on social media. You see all of these amazing ads, beautiful shots. You see all these photos and you really, really, really want to be in the club and love the product and believe that it does something. But honestly, there are so many products out there to choose from. Move on. There are thousands upon thousands. I mean, every day you blink and there are a bazillion more skincare products. So there is no reason to linger along, to continue to use something that clearly is not going to work for you. It's clearly not sustainable. You're not able to use it, enjoy using it. You know, I always point out that fragrance is a common allergen in skincare products, especially for people who have an impaired skin barrier. They have to be careful. That can be a potential cause of contact dermatitis. But that being said, fragrance can also motivate people to continue using a product. When I was younger, I discovered the Victoria's Secret body lotions, and I loved the smell of those, and they were actually really good body lotions, heavily scented, heavily fragranced, but I loved the scent so much that I was really good about moisturizing at that time. And you know, it was gratifying. I stayed consistent. So I relate to people on a certain level who do enjoy fragrance in their skincare because it motivates them to continue using. All right, y'all, those are my tips for how to know if your skincare is working. Main take home point though, don't put skincare products on a pedestal, set realistic expectations, keep your routine simple, and give products adequate time to actually do something. Takes patience. Anyway, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.